Warning: the following podcast contains strong language which some listeners may find offensive. If you do,
Up yours! That's only if you don't listen to the podcast. Otherwise, not up yours.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. It is Tuesday, you know what that means. It is me, your boy Big Tasty, joined once again by Jay. You're back. If you're on Jack's Radio, we got played in with a lovely bit of Coheed and Cambria. And if you're not listening to us on Jack's Radio, you should listen to us on Jack's Radio, because as well as all this quality wrestling content, you also get it's a very eclectic mix of music this week. I'm going deep into the box this week, so it's.
I'm looking at the breakdown and I'm like, okay, Tasty's having a bit of a strange year.
I put it together at like 11 o'clock last night, and my brain was in the right place, so it's gone a bit west. Yeah, it's been a big week in wrestling news. Jay, how you doing, man? How have you been?
Yeah, not bad. I'm just about recovered from Newcastle versus Man City yesterday.
There was a very real danger that if City had held on and won, this podcast would not be happening, because you'd still be like somewhere.
If Newcastle had have kept that 3-1, I would probably have still been out. Yes, that's
You probably wouldn't have to buy many drinks either, to be fair.
No, that is also true. That is also true. But yeah, I'm good. We're ready to talk about some wrestling.
Speaking of untoppable behemoths powered by Saudi blood money, it's time for some WWE news and recaps.
Wow.
What a segue that was. Jesus Christ.
Right. Sure, you wouldn't have fucking gone purple if you was here for this.
I mean, there's only one real big story to talk about this week. It's the one we're going to start with and pretty much focus the entirety of this news section on. And that is the sort of somewhat inevitable, but still very sad news that WWE, sorry, I'm still to Sheamus there, have confirmed that NXT UK will go on hiatus this week ahead of a planned launch of an NXT Europe in sometime in 2023. As a result of this, numerous NXT UK stars have been released by the promotion as time of recording, because the situation is constantly evolving even now. The list currently includes Flash Morgan Webster, Mark Andrews, Danny Luna, so that's all of Subculture, Wild Boar, Primate, Jack Stars, Dave Mastiff, Ashton Smith, Kenny Williams, Amia Jordan. It just goes on, this, doesn't it? Amia Jordan, Rohan Raja, Teoman, Saxon Huxley, Shah Samuels, Noam Dar, Sam Gradwell, Trent Seven, Sid Scala, Eddie Dennis, T-Bone, Amale, Millie McKenzie, Nina Samuels, Zaya Brookside, Eliza Alexander, and ring announcer Kirsty Bosley. Like, that is pretty much everybody, isn't it, really?
Yeah, the only people I can really notably think of that went champions were Charlie Dempsey, Stevie Turner was another one, and
Rampage Brown,
Ginny,
yeah.
So this really kind of come out of the left field. They cancelled the TV tapings about 2 weeks ago, and that was kind of like, oh yeah, it's because of the football, and then there was sort of like the general feeling. It was like, well, that ain't good.
Yeah, it wasn't like a writings on the wall situation, but it was sort of like the first crack showing, wasn't it, in the wall as it started to crumble a little bit. It was like those cancellations. Everyone was, as you said, like, oh well, it's because they film in the BT Sports studios and the new season had just started. But this had never been an issue before where they weren't able to use a studio. So
yeah, it's what's interesting about this is obviously there was that famous kind of like press conference that Triple H did where he was like in a studio with like a world map with like all different NXT like logos on, and he was talking about global localization. This definitely feels like he's kind of amped that back up again after Vince kind of cut his funding on it.
Yeah, I remember when like WWE were going to like buy Noah and turn it into NXT Japan.
They tried to buy Noah and Stardom and turn it into NXT Japan. I don't know if they bought WXW, but they were going to do NXT Germany as well as NXT UK.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a that's a list, isn't it, of people? That's like you could. I mean, it is a wrestling promotion's worth of wrestlers there. You could build two divisions out of those people.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see if any of these return. When I know, like a lot of like kind of people were saying, "Oh yeah, the door's open if they want to return for NXT Europe." But obviously, it puts WWE kind of like the ball in their court to then.
But no one knows what NXT Europe is. Is it going to be based in the UK? Is it going to be based in mainland Europe? Is this like a visa thing? Like is this, you know?
It sounds like from Cultaholic said on like their video, the idea seems like it's going to be sort of like a touring brand around Europe. So
is that even going to have a roster, or is it just going to be like a sort of touring indie show? Because can you really get 50 people and move them all over Europe? How much is that going to cost?
Well, that's it, isn't it?
The reason this lasted so long, I think, and the reason it was able to continue is because they literally just did it in a warehouse in London, like on the cheap.
Well, it was BT Sports Studios, wasn't it?
They weren't paying massive deals because I know Artemis, the referee, she said she made more money teaching than she made wrestling, refereeing in WWE on NXT UK.
Insane. I know. I remember. The thing that always kind of springs to mind, when like developmental deals kind of get mentioned is I remember when the Cruiserweight Classic happened and they offered their Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. $20,000 a year. Like it was like that's probably like what some like they probably making merch like
on Wrestle Kingdom weekend.
Yeah. Zack Sabre Jr. then put that fucking tweet out as well. Looks like we made the right choice, eh, Kota?
Jesus Christ. Yes, a bit more information about this then. So according to a tweet from Shah Samuels, he said he's able to wrestle again from September the 23rd. So it sort of indicates there's about a 30-day no compete, give or take.
45.
45, do you reckon, from like when they were last maybe used? I know several talents have been announced for shows already. So Progress have already snapped up Millie McKenzie for the show in Birmingham.
Eddie Dennis is already wrestling.
Like, Eddie Dennis is like announced for like this weekend somehow. Maybe
he's shown up at Rev Pro last night.
Yeah. So Eddie Dennis is back in the mix.
Your boy TNT.
Yeah, TNT have just announced Tatum, and as we know him, Lucky Kid in TNT.
I can't wait to see him do horrible things to people in TNT rings.
So it is really good. I mean, it sucks that people lost their jobs. It always does, especially in the situation we're in now, where like that $20,000 a year could maybe pay like half your Lecky bill.
Yeah, for a week.
But it's good to see that the one thing that the one benefit of this is it's going to be like a massive surge of talent back to the indies. I just hope that it doesn't lead to some of the talent. Like, you look at like people who've established themselves in the last sort of like 18 months, 2 years, like people like Gene Money, people like Dan Maloney, people like DeReese, the 0121. I hope those people who have pushed themselves to the top of cards can stay in their positions.
I think they will. I think it's kind of like it's all about balance, isn't it? And I think that a lot of it is going to be a case of, well, for a start, some of these talents might end up like, because they're now bigger names from like the exposure of WWE, might get more like overseas bookings anyway.
Yeah. And
like, let's face it, having talent where you can go, oh, ex-WWE talent is always kind of like a booster for any indie show. So I think, while a lot of these guys and girls aren't going to be short for work, I do think that it's just going to kind give us more sort of like dream matches that we wouldn't have had.
Yeah, I mean, just looking down that list, like there's at least 5 names there I want to see pop up in the Northwest scene somewhere.
Oh yeah, and
I want to. I mean, I want to see Dave Mastiff wrestle.
God, yeah.
That's probably going to come with Jack Stars. That's fine. Millie McKenzie, I'd love to see her go up against either Alexis Falcon or Harley Hudson. It was one of the 2 Northwest US women's champions. Sorry. No, Dar, I'd love to see him live. Shaw Samuels, obviously, because who else is going to shout East dead loud?
Yeah, Trent Seven.
Trent Seven, yeah. Kenny Williams, I'd love to see him live. Amir Jordan,
Yeah,
Primate, Wild Boar, you know.
get Saxon Huxley doing his Bruiser Brody stuff.
Yeah, just be being Bruce Brody. Have Eddie Dennis put the hump back together and just rip through the Indies like tag team scene, go up against Kings of the North. That'd be a boom, better breaker, wouldn't it? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I imagine looking at some of the names there as well. I can, as I say, I can definitely see some going stateside as well. One thing that we didn't quite touch on is it's insane they've released 5 Welsh wrestlers there a week before.
They've released literally all of the Welsh wrestlers who worked in WWE like the 2 weeks before their biggest Welsh show of all time.
Like, yeah, I mean, what a missed opportunity that is. Just they could have literally just done like a dark battle royal or something.
You could have literally done Subculture versus Eddie Dennis's Eddie Dennis's tag team on like the dark match of Clash at the Castle.
Yeah. But what a cool opportunity it would have been to have like done like Subculture versus the Usos or something like that.
Yeah, like, we've got to do Usos v Street Profits again, mate, haven't we? So
don't worry about it. But yeah, it's crazy. Also, like a lot of with the whole NXT Europe thing. I mean, you've got quite a few like European like.
Well, this brings us to this brings us to the next point in the news. So again, this is only according to the opinion of Dave Meltzer. There's talk that this proposed NXT Europe might not actually happen because he points to as you just said there, he points to the baffling lack of logic releasing European stars such as Amale and also Teyaman, you know.
Yeah, Teyaman's half German, half Turkish.
If you're going to be having French and German productions, why release big French and German stars like 3 months before you start this new promotion?
It's crazy. I mean, like especially.
Are you telling me the company that paid Ali to sit at home for a year can't pay these guys for 3 months?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like with Amel as well, is that she's like probably one of the better women's wrestlers they had in the company.
And they put so much resources into building her up because she was practically unknown in the UK when she came into NXT UK.
Yeah,
and they've made her a star to the best of their ability of NXT UK, and they've put so much effort and time into it. And now, she's just going to go and wrestle for Progress or for North?
Well, I don't know if she still is, but she was the WXW Women's Champion.
Oh, fair.
So and also Paris has got like quite a big like scene at the moment. So I think she'll be all right getting work in France. She'll be all right getting work in Germany. She'll probably end up showing up in a few English promotions.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd quite like to see her versus Alexis Falcon if Apta's listening.
That would be lovely. Nina Samuels versus Alexis Falcon. Give me that. That'd be great.
Well, everyone needs a bit more Nina.
Yeah. Obviously Eliza Alexander, we know her as Lizzie Evo. We've had her on the podcast. She'll be she's already all over the Northwest scene anyway. She's making waves to Manchester now. She's in Progress now. You know.
Yeah, she's been doing a lot of work for Progress recently.
So yeah, big old load of sad times. I mean, that was that. So this all broke on like Thursday night as well, like real late.
Yeah, Ashton Smith as well is another really surprising one because he's currently injured, but he'd literally just won the tag titles with Oliver Carter,
who has not been released.
Who's very, very good. I'm glad he's not been released.
Yeah. Obviously, we had a couple of guys go over to America recently. Already pretty deadly. We had what's his face? Is it Ben? What's his name now? Ben Carter. Nathan Fraser. Every time we say that, I think of Nathan Barley. You know the TV show.
They turned into a luchador, which still hurts me.
Obviously, speaking of luchadors, got Axiom to come.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, a kid.
Yeah,
just keep him away from theory.
How would you? Well, yeah. That's probably why they called him Axiom instead. That baffles me. Like, I went on a rant about it on the air. So just to put a little bit of a shameless plug in there, me and Troy did a podcast after the news has come out, listing what we feel are 15 NXT UK matches you should go and check out, because it really was like the best kept secret of WWE. Like,
it was the best show on the network that nobody watched, basically.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've ranted about with A-Kid, is that they've turned him into a luchador, and they made him do a lot more like kind of high flying stuff, when like he's legitimately one of, if not the best technical wrestler they've got on the roster.
Yeah.
Which just hurts my brain.
I'm no spoilers here, but I'm going to guess you talked about A-Kid's Heritage Cup matches, which were phenomenal.
Yes, yeah. Well, I on our Discord, if you're not a member, go join. We have a lot of good discussion. I actually did mention, for a starting off point of like, A-Kid, just watch the Heritage Cup tournament because it's tremendous. Yeah. Also, he did have a Heritage Cup rules match against Charlie Dempsey recently, which was chef's kiss.
Actually, Charlie Dempsey, he got out alive, didn't he? So.
Yeah, well, Triple H wants Regal on his books. He's not getting that, so he's not fucking letting his son go, because you know exactly where he's going to end up if he does.
True. Right then, we'll have one last piece of news before we move on to our recaps, and that is that as of last Friday, so August 19th, PW Insider has reported that Jeff Jarrett has departed his position as WWE's Senior Vice President of Live Events.
Yeah. He actually was the booker for the entirety of the Ric Flair's last match show.
Is that why he's gone?
Well, maybe him and Conrad are going to start their own little thing.
Oh my God.
Buy
your gold. Buy your gold now.
What if Jeff Jarrett brings back Global Force Wrestling and it's just him having retirement matches with people?
Well, didn't someone say, like it was DDP said he was offered like a load of money to do a similar sort of last match show, and he turned it down?
Yeah.
So is that Conrad's new thing, just going around finding guys who are like on the brink of death and like making them do one more match?
DDP gave Smart Boxdale a diamond cutter.
True.
Oh no, it was Cardona, I think, actually.
Yes, it was Cardona, because Cardona was understandably being a prick.
Josh Alexander murdered the Smart Boxdale with a J-Drill, didn't he?
Yes. So I mean, there's obviously something Jarrett wouldn't go unless he had, because that seemed like it was like a job for life, didn't it? Like if he wanted it.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. There's potentially him doing more stuff in GCW. There was he teased a rematch with Effie around WrestleMania weekend, and then obviously WWE kind of bought him in.
He's got to punish Effie for his indiscretions.
He's not hit Effie with a guitar for almost 6 months, so he needs to change that. He's
going to do it in Liverpool. I've been lobbying Lee McAteer to get it booked.
Well, Lee McAteer's best mates with Jarrett, so if anyone's going to get it, if Jarrett shows up at GCW, I will lose my mind.
I've been buying him pints and just drawing like a double J on the bottom of the glass with a Sharpie, so as he's drinking it, it's what he's looking at.
Just there, baby Guinnesses.
Just put them in. Why do they like the shape of a guitar? I don't know. Why do you keep saying slap nuts? No reason.
I'm seeing Lee on Wednesday. I'm gonna try and plant that thought into his head.
Just repeatedly call them slap nuts until it sinks in.
Listen up, slap nuts.
Right then, we'll take a quick break here. You can have a bit of Billy Talent if you're on the Jax Radio, because who doesn't love a bit of Billy Talent. And we'll be back with some WWE recaps for Raw and SmackDown. See you very soon. And we're back, so we will fly straight into Raw. Was it you or 2 weeks ago or Troy last week who I asked, do they always start Raw with a massively long promo? Because they do it again this week, and it breaks my brain. It
was Troy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he defended it expertly, but yeah. So this week the Judgment Day are out at the start, and they cut a big promo, And it basically just ends with Rey Mysterio getting battered.
Yeah, it also set up Edge returning to having his first match on Raw in 12 years.
That's a mental statistic when you think about it. He's been back like over a year.
Yeah, well, he's only wrestled one TV match that whole time.
Yeah, that's
against main event Jey Uso when he wore his best gear that he's worn.
And then you've got in AEW, you've got Christian nearly getting hit by cars.
Yeah,
on free TV.
We've got young 40-year-old whippersnapper Damian Priest versus Edge.
Young. So. He's young the way Ben Foster is young.
Yeah, it should be a good match. I mean, I'd rather Balor versus Edge.
I think that's probably the final boss, isn't it? I think you have to get past like the underlings first. Like, I mean, Priest is, I love Priest, but he's no Finn Balor.
Priest's being like positioned as the leader.
I thought the whole point was like when Balor came in, that was like they took to the next level.
Well, no, I don't know if it's Vince's vision of the big guy has to be the leader.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because we're existing in some sort of like quantum state now of like Vince booked stories and non-Vince booked stories that are all sort of like fused together because of the situation.
Yeah. So it's like when Vince called up Hit Row, and all of a sudden Top Dollar was the leader because he was the big guy.
Yeah, it was like, I know Swerve's like the best talker, but we'll just make Top Dollar do it.
We got Swerve right there. But yeah, but let's just make Swerve and Canty the tag team.
But Top Dollar's hench as fuck, so he's going to do all the talking now.
You could talk Top Dollar, to be fair.
Yeah, he's all right. Next up then, we had a women's tag tournament match. Alexa Bliss and Asuka beat Nikki Ash and Doudrop. Yeah, good match. Went a good bit of time, this, considering.
Yeah, this was fine. It's always good to see Doudrop doing stuff. I just wish they'd change your name.
I mean, you could do it. Because what's the point anymore? Vince is gone now. He ain't going to complain.
Just call her Piper Niven again, please.
Yeah. I could go to business myself and just start calling myself Piper Niven. Because what are they going to do?
Teased it in an interview the other day.
Yeah, so fun match. Next up, Austin Theory cuts a little promo. Ziggles comes out, doesn't he, and has a little go.
Yeah, and then as they're brawling, there was like a little tease for Dexter Lumis, which was cool. Like, I've just got to say, because I wasn't here last week, like, the portrayal of Dexter Lumis since he's come back has been fascinating. Like, they literally... So, there was one bit where... I can't even remember what it was. Someone was walking backstage and there was like an oil drum with a bit of fire coming out of it, and people were like putting it out. And then during like the brawl between Theory and Ziggler, like in like a doorway in the background, you just see his hand come out and put it on the wall, and then just move it. And the fact that as well that they're still kind of acting like he's like a former employee who's just like gone off the fucking rails.
Yeah,
it's just brilliant. It's really, really well thought out.
Fair. Next up then, Miz and Ciampa defeat Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. Remember when Mustafa Ali was getting pushed again for a bit? That was fun, wasn't it?
Well, have you seen the finish for this?
No.
It's fucking tremendous. Mustafa Ali goes for it's either a 450 or a shooting star, and Ciampa, as he's in midair, sprints across the ring and hits him in the face with a knee.
Oh, nice.
As he's
so is Mustafa Ali now the new Evan Bourne, in that like his job is now to have his finisher counted into like loads of different ways?
Probably. He has kind of been teasing that he's gonna like be kind of repackaged a bit. I think, I mean, it's one of those things. At least he's getting TV time.
Yeah. And
him and Ciampa are like kind of like two of the guys that Triple H seems to be really getting behind.
I mean, don't get me wrong. In an alternative universe where the last few months didn't happen, we would not be seeing Ciampa or Mustafa Ali on TV. So we'll take what we can get here, I think, in respect to these two.
Nah, Ciampa was like the Miz's like heavy.
Yeah, but he would have been like dressed as like a teddy bear or something, like doing like giving the Miz like a rub down after the match or something.
They have got him wearing like luminous green and pink gear now, which upsets me because
can't have everything, can you?
No.
Right, next up we got a Drew McIntyre promo. A lot of Drew McIntyre on these two shows this week. I know they're building him big now for Clash, but he's all over this.
Yeah, Drew McIntyre said that they're wrestlers in a wrestling ring in a wrestling company. Just because they're allowed to say wrestler now.
Vince's blood pressure went up a few points watching at home.
Vince is probably like just like texting Triple H like, I fucking hate you.
Just turned his phone off, put it in his desk drawer.
Triple H just blocked Vince's number.
What's that noise? None. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
After this, then Drew beats KO by DQ. So I've got Drew defeats KO by DQ, which is a lot of two-letter abbreviations.
Yeah. This was a really good match, and Triple H has also kind of got Kevin Owens more like his NXT prize fighter gimmick again,
which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So he obviously needs to protect both, which is why there was a DQ. Also,
and it gets the Usos involved, and it keeps the Drew Roman thing ticking over, doesn't it, as well, and sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, like, because Roman's not there like all the time, it's essentially been Drew feuding with the Usos as opposed to Drew feuding with Roman.
Yeah.
So that was just them kind of attacking Drew and then saying that was like a message from Roman. And then I think
that's fair.
Yeah, and then Drew fought them off. Owens hit a stunner on Drew and then said, tell your tribal chief he owes me one or something like that.
Oh, fair. Okay.
So, yeah, it did everything it needed to. I think it was the right call.
I think obviously the sort of, and like we talked about this like last week, me and Troy talked about this with the potential for Gallus coming in. They've got Drew to a point where like he's really quite strongly booked, but his whole thing is he doesn't really have any friends.
Gallus showing up on NXT 2.0 this week.
What if they show up against? What if they show up to take on the Usos in benefit of Drew?
They attacked the Diamond Mine.
Oh, fair. Okay. Sad, really strong noises.
Yeah, he's always had those. Friends are all in eight.
Seth Rollins promo. Yeah, it's always good, right?
It was good. One thing as well, actually, that they did after this match, which was brilliant. They did like an update on Ezekiel after Kevin Owens attacked them.
Oh, is that when they showed him in the hospital where like every member of his family was just him in a different costume?
And then they had his dad cut Ernie Jr. cut like a little promo saying, "I'm just disappointed Kevin Owens felt the need to do this to our Zeke." It's brilliant. More of this, please.
I mean, he's another one of those guys. You can like, he's not. I mean, he's never going to put on like a 5-star match, but you give him anything and he can make it entertaining. Yeah,
that's true.
Next up, then Via beat Bo Keller. Just squash match, basically, wasn't it?
Via just throwing a guy around like he was a sack of spuds. It was fucking awesome.
Love a bit of that. Lashley defeated AJ Styles to retain the US title.
This was an absolute banger.
It's nice they're just letting like people have like good, solid TV matches for the US title now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think one thing that's really cool is that Triple H has kind of made the emphasis of kind of like both shows, the US and the Intercontinental title, and that how it is like the work rate title, and obviously with Roman kind of being, well, let's face it, part time. It's like when Brock had the Universal title and he had to really elevate the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
And it's good to see, especially kind of given like Lashley just like all these like kind of dream opponents that he's never wrestled before. That a guy like Lashley as well, who's like obviously like a big old horse, having like matches with work rate guys. It's kind of like when Brock like wrestles like all the indie guys, and it just has like an absolute like instant classic.
Yeah,
it's good.
Fair. Next up, Dakota Kai defeats Dana Brooke. Anyone? No.
It's good way of just showcasing Dakota.
Then Dana Brooke is still here, which is nice.
Dana Brooke's still here. Bailey and their faction were like
Damage Control, mate.
Are they called Damage Control now? Yeah, they haven't been named yet properly.
They've trademarked that, haven't they? So I'm guessing.
Yeah. They were basically just like saying people like you are part of the problem to it.
All right, I know she was in the 24/7 title picture, but come on, no, you know.
Yeah, just Dakota kicked the shit out of Dana. It was nice.
Right, and then the main event, Theory defeats Ziggler.
No, thank you.
I mean, yeah, that's a thing. This is just a placeholder feud, isn't it, for Theory until like they get him to the next stage of his evolution, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, Dolph Ziggler's on holiday in Wales now. Like that's a genuine thing. He
Oh,
keeps
right.
like they've been putting like videos up on WWE's YouTube daily of Dolph just like going around Wales and like trying
Oh,
like
please tell me he's gone like the fucking Golden Mile and Real and he's playing the slots, the
I
penny
don't know.
slots. And he's gone. He's just him in his
Well,
trunks, him in his trunks in the Sunlight Centre going down the slide.
it'll just be him in it'll be him in Cardiff, won't it? So
Yeah.
I don't know what he's fucking doing there, but yeah, it's one thing actually that's really kind of cool about Clash of the Castle is they're doing like it is like a whole like tourism campaign for Cardiff. Like,
Oh yeah, because didn't like the city of Cardiff pay them a lot of money to have the show there?
pretty much, yeah.
All right, question: why aren't Golden Duck and Chain doing the official song?
Well, they've never used Our Lady Peace before for anything, have they?
Golden Duck and Chain, mate, they're from like Newport, just down the road. We could have had a bit of Guns Don't Kill People.
Oh, imagine. Do you reckon they're gonna have Charlotte Church sing the national anthem?
Oh. Right, on to SmackDown then.
Just to say about the Clash as well, like I before was it before yesterday? Either way, checking like the start time for Clash, and like literally it's like a tourism brochure. Like it says, oh yeah, Clash starts at 6 p.m. This is all the stuff you can do in Wales. This is how you can get it from all the major cities. It's like, all right, fair play.
Oh, fair enough. Hopefully it does well for the region because it'd be nice. We've actually a little bit of a shameless plug. There's a bar in Cardiff showing. I think Hooked on Events are doing an event down there, and they've actually got a special one-off beer from us called Iron Drew.
Nice.
So we did there. It's 5% pale, nice and juicy pale boy. Nice. So if you're in the Cardiff area watching Clash of the Castle, go and get yourself a pint of Iron Drew. It's the only place you'll ever get it from Top Rope Brewing.
Nice.
Right, on to the SmackDown. We've got just because we can't have nice things, we have to start with the Ronda Rousey promo.
No, thank you.
It's kind of weird. So this in Canada, isn't it? Because no certain stars are absent because of suspicious injuries.
Yeah.
Just pointed out that Canada does have a COVID vaccine mandate in place if you want to travel into the country. On a totally unrelated note, that is.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the people who went there. Yikes.
I think it's telling that Karrion Kross wasn't on the show.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, he was. He did like a little backstage promo.
Could have been filmed anyway, mate.
Don't worry about
it. Ronda cuts a promo. It's kind of weird because the crowd are sort of booing Liv. I think that they've really fucked this, haven't they? Like the Liv,
by having Liv tap out when she got rolled up, when she rolled Ronda up.
Yeah, they've really fucked this quite hard. Like what you've done here is created a situation where Ronda's the babyface, and that should never happen.
No, never, ever.
So this is all kinds of fucked. But it's like I think what they do later in the show, I think might fix it. This might be a way out here.
I don't know. I pop for what Shayna did.
That's what I mean. Like, I think Shane is you get out of jail free card here. You just have Shayna murder everybody, and then it's fine.
Yeah, that's what they should do. Just put the belt on Shayna and let her just snap everyone's arms.
Just hit the reset button on this whole sordid affair.
Just have her as the Minoru Suzuki as the women's division.
Yeah,
that's all we want.
All right then. First match of the night: Toxic Attraction defeated Natalya and Sonya Deville for the women's tag tournament. So this should have been Nikita Lyons and Zoe Starks, but Nikita was unable to travel for some reason.
She had well, Zoe Starks was actually injured. No, Zoe Starks was legit injured.
Oh right, okay.
And then Nikita Lyons had a what did he said something like an undisclosed medical concern or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh right.
But yeah, good to see Toxic Attraction getting a spot, getting a win.
Yeah, as they should.
Yeah, I mean, with respect to Natalya and Sonya Deville, they're not doing nothing as a tag team, are they?
No.
Right, moving on.
What with a random partner as usual.
We had a conclusion to a long-running storyline here in Canada. A bit of a feel-good moment. Sami Zayn finally meets with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Sami was fantastic in this as well. Like, the whole show, Sami was doing the fucking Lord's work.
It's really cool that they didn't let him win. So let's not go to ridiculous lengths here, but at least they put him. They featured him on TV, which is quite nice.
Yeah, like he said he says in this that like Jay just screams at him all the time, and then like Roman goes like out the room, and Jay calls Roman and to say he's stuck at the border, and Sammy answers it. He's just like, "You don't need to shout at me."
Yeah, fair enough.
Heart Roman. Yeah, it was great. It was a really good segment.
Next up, Hit Row interrupt Maximum Male Models. Yay, that's going to be fun, I guess.
I think it will.
I mean, it's an interesting clash of styles, if nothing else, isn't it?
Well, Hit Row are good. Maximum Male Models are fine. I think they're better like as characters than they are wrestlers. Although Mansoor
Yeah,
is
get it right.
A very good wrestler. Marseille not so much, but he's very funny though.
Yeah. Next up then, Sheamus defeated Madcap Moss, Happy Corbin, Ricochet, and local boy Sami Zayn, local hero Sami Zayn, to win an icy title shot at Clash at the Castle.
I think they made a mistake not having Sami win this, but I'm not complaining because we get Sheamus versus Walter.
I was going to say, I think Sheamus versus Walter is a more compelling match. Also, Sheamus is from technically England because he's close to England. So he's from what WWE consider England.
Yeah.
In that it's like, one of the part of the United Kingdom and Ireland. So if it's a big hometown guy to going against the evil German coming in to take all of our towns and villages. This is I know Walter's Austrian. This is all in WWE's headcanon here. They go see World War II and they're thinking, right, Sheamus versus Walter. Here we go. But it's interesting because if Sheamus wins, he'll be a Grand Slam champion.
That's the only belt that's evaded them, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
I want him to win, but I also think Walter should hold that belt forever.
The only thing I think them doing have Sheamus win it and then have Walter win it back, like the next possible opportunity.
Well, he hasn't lost on Main yet.
What? I mean, this doesn't count me. It's not in America. No one will watch it.
That's true. Yeah, they did like an injury spot where Sammy Corbin like fucked Sammy's shoulder, and Sammy got held to the back, and then he came out with like one arm, hitting Ricochet with like all his moves with just one arm, So like,
was it like the time he broke his shoulder doing his entrance against John Cena?
And then wrestled like for 20 minutes. Yeah,
yeah. We know he can do it.
Yeah, it was weird that they booked Sammy as like Sami Zayn of old, so to speak, like resilient face, not conspiracy theorist.
Oh, cool.
Bloodline member Sami Zayn. But yeah, the crowd were super behind Sammy. They were red hot for him. The crowd were really good actually on SmackDown this week.
Canada kind of always is, isn't it? It's always a bit more decent.
Yeah, I think Raw will be good tonight because it's in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, next up then, Liv Morgan defeated Shotzi. Yay. And then afterwards she was annihilated by Shayna Baszler. Double yay.
Oh god, that kick to the face was horrible. It was. So Shayna's like got a foot on Liv's hand, and Liv like sort of looks up at her, and then Shayna just boots her in the face as hard.
All I want is for Shayna to be women's champion. Yeah. But then also I want a show on the WWE Network, which is just Shayna Baszler showing us how to paint Warhammer figures.
Yes. Have you seen Shayna Baszler's YouTube channel?
No, I haven't.
It's very good. She's essentially she like kind of like talks through like submission holds.
Oh, nice. So like Taz's tactics, but like more serious.
Yeah, because she's actually it's usually her and Jessamine Duke who are doing them.
Oh,
so
sweet.
Like she'll like get her in a hold, and she'll be like, "Well, this is why."
I've seen clips on Twitter of them two like sparring and stuff.
Yeah, it's from Shayna's YouTube channel. It's really interesting because obviously like you're learning about like why a submission hold hurts as much as it does.
Yeah, oh sweet.
And like what parts of the body exactly it's actually like trying to do damage to.
Yeah, right. And then the main event, inverted commas, Roman and Drew face off because there's no match in the main event.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of important because I think Roman gets caught with a few, doesn't he? Like Drew gets a few licks in.
Yeah, and then Roman just Superman punches him. It'll be interesting what they do next week because usually in WWE law, whoever stands tall on the go home show is like who's not winning.
Yeah, they have to split it. Like obviously make everyone a bit strong.
Yeah, and if Roman's been standing tall here, I imagine Drew's probably gonna stand tall on SmackDown next week.
And then Roman will take the win, as
Oh,
always.
Yeah.
Fair.
100% winning that.
Right. Well, that's it for our WWE recap. We'll have a quick break. If you're on Jax, you can have some placebo and some Neil Young. I think you should do them together, would you? And then we'll be back soon for some AEW bits and bobs. I'll see you all in a few minutes. And we're back. Okay, we'll plow straight into, because it's all right. We thought when this WWE news broke about the releases in NXT UK, it's like, all right, okay, that's the big news story of the week. Nothing's going to top that. And then the AEW stuff came out, and this is just fucking wild. So a lot of this come from Fightful Select. So thank you very much to everyone there. Shurmar Sapp, as always, one of the guys with his finger on the pulse in the wrestling world. The big news, basically. Fightful Select reported that in the build-up to Punk and Page's Double or Nothing match, that it resulted in legitimate heat between both men, with Punk meeting with AEW higher-ups regarding the context of one of Hangman's promos. Punk allegedly told others after the meeting that he wasn't prepared to lose to Page at the pay-per-view. And then fast forward to this week on Dynamite, he went into business for himself on live TV, calling out Hangman when he was unable to respond. Several AEW sources told Fightful that they felt the situation was really unfair on Adam Page because he wasn't able to do anything. He couldn't just push, even if he was ready, he couldn't just push past Tony when he wasn't booked for a segment and go out there and respond. They had nothing prepared. Page is considered by most of the roster to be not a confrontational person, and he's genuinely quite well liked by people backstage.
Yeah.
This all kind of spun then, didn't it, out of like proportion, and like it just got bigger and bigger. Now there were sources claiming apparently there was rumors floating around, and there was a chance that Punk might not even come back to AEW this week. Such was his sort of ill will. Although others claimed there was no indication of his plans, or no indication of his plan to leave AEW. This all sort of stems apparently from Punk taking issue during the build to their Double or Nothing match, with Hangman Page mentioning Colt Cabana in a promo while Punk wasn't on the show.
Yeah, he doesn't mention it, does he? He says
he alludes to Colt Cabana.
He says you champion yourself as workers' rights, but we know that's not true, or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit.
And there was a little bit of a feeling that this jab from Punk on TV might have been a bit of a receipt for him, like making Punk look a bit stupid when Punk wasn't there.
Well, he said that once to his face. The one that the like Punk seemed to like really take umbrage with, or Hangman said that also to his face.
Oh right, okay.
There was one where like Punk wasn't there, where Hangman was like, you're not gonna have like a Bret Hart little fest against me.
Yeah, a Bret Hart wankathon, I think was his exact words.
Which was the one where Punk wasn't there. But then the one where you said about Colt, was to his face. And also, what's the other thing he said? Oh, the other thing as well was the fact that he kind of changed the direction of the promo to like almost as if Punk was like an invader.
Yeah, which actually was made really good sense from a promo point of view. I actually really enjoyed the build up to that match. I thought it was really quite good.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot. Now, depending on what you read on the internet here this week, this is literally everything here from the last days of Rome. If you read some reports, it's like AEW is on fire and like no one has any control backstage and everyone hates it and people are like furious. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you've got like Punk basically address, because this is Punk's like 1 year anniversary in the company, and he's looking back on his last year and saying he's really happy. And then he put a picture up with Dax Harwood, and Dax is like taking the piss out of the internet, saying like, does this look like a man who's really unhappy? And Punk's like dead happy and smiling.
Did you see like on that Instagram post he put out, he actually what was interesting was he said where's the thing now? Where the fuck's the thing?
Oh, is this is like his alleged apology?
Yeah, so he says he said at the end of it, I'm having the time of my life, as there's a drive into the deep left field by Castellanos, and that'll be a home run, and that'll make it a 4-0 ball game. That's a reference to it's a baseball reference, obviously, but apparently the commentator made like a very bad taste comment. I don't know what exactly it was. And then after he says that, he basically says, like, kind of addresses and goes, I just want to say I'm sorry for what it said. It was unprofessional of me and it was in poor taste. And I don't want to have upset my boss and my co-workers and the network and made anyone feel disappointed.
So he's sort of saying the first part, but implying the second part, perhaps.
Yeah,
of that whole thing. Yeah.
It's Punk's way of apologising in the sense that that's exactly what he wants to say.
Yeah.
In regard to it. But he's just being fucking...
Being obtuse because he's CM Punk.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's kind of this has kind of dominated a lot of sort of the AEW discourse over the course of the week.
Well, the thing that's really interesting is that they've moved the title match from All Out to Dynamite this week.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was a result of this because it happened during the show. It was announced during the show. Again, according to rumors and reports as well, Punk versus Moxley is still listed as the main event for All Out.
Well, we'll get into it in a bit, but I still think there's a way they're going to get to that.
Shenanigans.
No, I just think time limit draw, mate.
Yeah.
Just do a time. Tony loves a fucking time limit draw.
He does. We had a few of them, haven't we?
Do a time limit draw, and then you can go to a fucking Iron Man match at All Out. That's what they'll do.
Well, if you want to talk about potential ways to get out of this, in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer has reported that MJF is scheduled to return to AEW somewhat soon.
Oh, he's going to be out at the end of All Out, isn't he?
At the latest.
I think what happens with that, Punk retains, MJF comes out and beats the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
And that's the closing shot of the show, is MJF like standing over Punk with the belt in his hand.
That'd be cool. I'd like that.
Mark.
I mean, so there could be a situation here if they do it a bit faster. You could have Punk beat Moxley in Ohio,
Cleveland, yeah,
and then you could have MJF beat Punk in Chicago again for the belt.
MJF said next time he wrestles Punk, it'll be the worst moment of his life, for which would indicate
he's going to take a title off him.
Oh, Chicago would compound that, wouldn't it? Ooh.
Like MJF doing Money in the Bank, but to Punk in Chicago.
Yeah, because I said to you that I could see them doing that, kind of like the Summer of Punk with MJF.
They've only got like 2 weeks to build it, so I think they might have left it a bit later.
Oh no, I meant with obviously his contract going up, expiring on the 1st of January.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, we'll see what happens. Obviously, we've got a couple more weeks of TV to sort of finalize. I mean, obviously the big one now is what happens to this title match on Wednesday, because that's going to dictate what happens at All Out going forward.
Yeah, what's insane with AEW, which is something I've been kind of thinking about recently, is that they're really good at long-term storytelling, but they're fucking terrible at building it to a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So it's they'll have a long-term story in place. It's all right, well, Starks and Hobbs is kind of the one that's going into the pay-per-view, isn't it?
Yeah.
Goes Mox and Punk as well because of the interim champion.
And Kenny in the books with Hangman in the sort of where does he fit into the mix? I think the longest story being told in AEW now, ongoing, is Hangman and Matt Jackson, sorry. Trying to fix their relationship.
Well, yeah, that and Ricky Starks getting all the belts.
Oh yeah, I mean that's just an ongoing thing. I mean, that's just inevitable.
Yeah. But yeah, it's that, and then it's just 2 weeks before. It's oh fuck yeah, we got to pay per-view. Eddie Kingston get out there and cut a promo on someone.
Just call someone out. Just have a fight with someone.
Yeah, I mean we're getting Danielson versus Jericho, aren't we?
I think we're getting. I don't know. I would have said I think we're getting what you call it, Eddie versus Sammy. It looked like they were building that way, but then they just had, who was it on this Dynamite call? Sammy and Tyoth.
It was Ruby and Ortiz.
Yes.
Which would then lend itself to Sammy versus Eddie.
Yeah, which we'll get to Sammy versus Eddie at some point.
I don't know if I want Sammy versus Eddie.
I mean, Eddie's going to throw him into the sun, so that'd be fun.
Yeah, unless it's just Eddie like literally doing a murder on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sammy does tend to win a bit, though, doesn't he? Which is worrying.
Yeah, I think Eddie needs to pick up a win though, because like other than Jericho, he's not really had like a massive pay-per-view win, has he?
No.
Everything else is in like kind of somebody else, like Punk.
He would have Blood and Guts. He was involved in the finish of Blood and Guts.
Yeah, we're just in the fucking long game for Eddie versus Claudio, aren't we?
Yeah. When Eddie takes the belt off Punk. Shows us all what he's all about. Right, final piece of news then before we head into some recaps and a bit of positive news another bit of positive news because MJF went back to good news as well. This is this is the kind of thing that warms your heart a bit, isn't it? Fightful Select reported that Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, formerly 2.0, have signed AEW contract extensions.
You'll love to see it.
I mean, what a year they've had, right? Jesus Christ.
Daddy Magic's just like the best, isn't he?
They've gone from being like, they weren't even wrestling in WWE, they were just doing backstage skits, to they've now been in the ring with Sting, with CM
They weren't
Punk.
even doing backstage skits, they were doing fucking bits for like the Twitter.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's really insane.
But they've just flourished in AEW. They've found their spot so well that they've worked with everyone. They were trusted with like Sting's first TV match on Dynamite.
Daddy Magic doing commentary with Excalibur and Dark last couple of weeks has been good as well.
Oh, it's been incredible. Yeah, they're just so talented. They can do anything, and they've got given a chance. I really liked how they did long-term storytelling with these guys as well, because when they first came in, they made it like common knowledge that just after they got released, they went on Jericho's podcast, and Jericho got them a tryout in AEW, got them a shot in AEW, and it was just a thing they talked about like openly. And then when they joined the Jericho Appreciation Society, they were like, "Well, yeah, of course, we're going to join it with Jericho. He got us in the door."
Yeah,
and it's like, oh shit, yeah, that actually really did happen.
Yeah, they also when they were doing the YouTube show, which I missed dearly, they used to they used to just do footage of them at the hockey games with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens asking Matt Menard why he had his wrists taped at a hockey match.
Top Canadian lads.
Right.
Right, we'll have another quick break. If you're on Jax, you can have some less than Jake. And we will come back in a second with some Dynamite and Rampage recaps. And we're back. Okay, so Dynamite kicks off with, we've talked about it already quite extensively, that CM Punk promo. So he calls out Hangman weirdly. It was a bit odd. It felt like it didn't really fit. And then basically he starts...
Well, I said when we were watching it live, it just felt odd.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it wasn't meant to happen, as we found out.
Yeah, and because we were saying, weren't we, just really just kind of shit on Hangman.
Yeah. And then he calls out Moxley. Moxley does come out, and they house fight.
Oh, Mox just trying to do an actual fucking kill on
like actual pull apart brawl here. Like they go back to each other like 2 or 3 times. Really good. They so we said, didn't we? Like in this just in this one show, they really put the foot to the floor on this Moxley Punk thing, and like really got us all ready for it.
Yeah, it felt red hot. It really did.
Which was great. Speaking of great, next up then we had Bryan Danielson defeating Daniel Garcia in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Oh God, this might be going into my match of the year.
This was just phenomenal, wasn't it? Like Garcia took the first fall with the scattiest power driver you'll ever see.
Yeah, that was really sad. It was the fact that Bryan had this fucking head like tilted backwards, like he was going for a Styles clutch.
Yeah,
I was like, "What are you doing, you fucking lunatic?"
But then Danielson basically just out-bastarded Garcia to take the next 2 falls.
Yeah, Garcia as well doing the as RJ City put it, doing a DDT on concrete in front of Ricky Steamboat, like taking Jackie O to a shooting range.
yeah. So Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was the special guest timekeeper for the match.
It was House of the Dragon, wasn't it? So we had, as Dan Housen called him, Rick Dragon.
Rick Dragon
on the timekeeper duties. The American Dragon, Bryan Danielson versus the Dragon Slayer, Daniel Garcia.
Yeah, Daniel Garcia had his cool new t-shirt on. He's very nice.
He did. How did Danielson get the first fall again? It was a roll up, wasn't it?
Yes, and then it was
Garcia. Danielson's bust open. Garcia's like fucking dominating them, and then Danielson just kind of rolls him up and has that like glimmer of hope.
and then won the third one by just technical choking.
Oh god! Well, there was the bit where they recreated the Nigel McGuinness spot.
Yeah,
by just dragging each other into the ring post and both getting bust open hard way.
you'll love to see it.
Yeah, and then Danielson just does an actual murder on him.
And then post match, it looks like for all intents and purposes, like Garcia's going to shake Bryan Danielson's hand out of respect, but Jericho is swiftly down to the ring to nip that in the bud.
Do you think that Garcia's joining Blackpool Combat Club, or do you think it's like a ruse?
A double cross. It could be either at this point, couldn't it? Something's obviously happening. I don't think they need Garcia in JAS anymore now that Sammy's coming. Like Sammy can fill that role if they really want him to.
Yeah, I quite like the idea of Blackpool Combat Club becoming like the Murder Boys for X-Men, where Regal's like Professor X, and then
you've
got Mox who's Wolverine, you've got Danielson who's a bit more like Cyclops. You've got Claudio who's just, I'm trying to think who Claudio will be in the X-Men.
Colossus, obviously.
Colossus, yeah, because he's strong.
But yeah.
You've got Eddie Kingston's like Puck, who just kind of shows up every now and again and hangs out with Wolverine. Yeah. And then you got Uther and Garcia, and then eventually, not Lee Moriarty because he's with Stokely now, isn't he? But
yeah,
eventually another like young lion. Shouted at him and why the fuck?
Yeah, Shooter in. He did all right, didn't he?
Yeah.
Speaking of Moxley, next up then, Tony Nese is coming out for a match, and Moxley just hasn't got any time for his shit, and he just murders him on the entrance ramp.
That was so good. Moxley,
I don't know what I enjoyed more. So Moxley comes out, murders Nese, cuts a promo on Punk. Punk comes out, they have a fight again. That was fun. That was great. It really felt like this was bleeding into like ruining the show, and sort of like it was getting too big to be contained, which is good. Did you see what Tony Nese put on Twitter?
No.
He basically insinuated that he was going to wrestle a debuting Bray Wyatt.
Really?
Yeah. He was like, "Oh yeah, I was going to wrestle this. I was going to wrestle someone who's making a debut, someone real husky."
Really? What a little shit. I don't believe you, Tony Nese.
No, you think he's high on protein powder again?
I think he's yeah.
But yeah, Moxley and Punk going at it again, and that was after this second fight, wasn't it? They announced that the title match would be next week. Because basically, I think the angle they're trying to push is that they basically just can't keep these two guys apart, so they just gotta get it on.
I can't wait.
No, it's that match is this is like
this
well, this is the one that you can't call, isn't it? Because like you could see a world where both guys win.
Yeah, I it's one of them. It should be Mox.
But you can see why it'd be Punk.
Oh, it will be Punk, I think. But
I think it was you I was talking to, and I was like, I don't want to be the guy who tells Moxley he's dropping the belt.
No.
I don't want to be the one to go into that dressing room and tell John Moxley he's doing the job for CM Punk.
No, he's in danger.
Right then, speaking of who else is in danger, the Gun Club came out and squashed the Varsity Blondes in like a minute, which is fine, I guess. After the match, they do the unthinkable. They turn on Daddy Ass, sweet Daddy Ass.
Yeah, poor Daddy Ass.
But the Acclaimed come out to a huge pop to make the save, and in the middle of the ring, Anthony Bones and Daddy Ass scissor one more time, and the most sort of the weirdest emotional moment in AEW history, I think, takes place when I get legitimately a bit choked up by two men scissoring in the middle of the ring.
Yeah. I like this because I think Stokely's like forming this faction is really cool because it gives a lot of guys who kind of felt like they needed something to do.
Yeah.
It carries on Stokely being basically a modern day Bobby Heenan. and now it's got like the first feud where we could potentially get Stokely Hathaway versus Daddy Ass, which yes, please,
Yeah, give me that.
in a house fight.
Yeah. Next up, then we have a Jungle Boy promo. Christie comes out. They have a bit of a fight. I mean, this is very slow building now, isn't it? It's very it's sort of it's gone past. I don't know. I think it peaked a bit too soon. I think they went to vehicular murder a bit quick in the feud here.
Yeah,
It feels like there's nowhere else for them to really go after that. So they're sort of circling each other a little bit, like waiting for the pay-per-view. I'd imagine this is going to be an all-out match.
Yeah, it's got to be, surely. Do you think it'll be a no-holds-barred match or lights out?
I think it has to be something nasty, doesn't
it?
Not
lights out, because that'd have to go on after.
Yeah, they could just have like anything, like a no, like you say, like a no DQ match or something like that.
Yeah,
should be fine. Next up, Tony Storm defeated Kylan King. Really fun match. Tony Storm looked great. Kylan King looked great as well. Yeah,
they did a really good job of making Kylan King feel special here. Where like they were like, oh yeah, she's been traveling all over like the independents. She's really kind of like
because she worked a lot for AW during the pandemic era, didn't she? She was on Dark an awful lot. And she was in the crowd quite frequently.
Wasn't she trained by Cody?
Possibly.
I think
she was in that group, wasn't she, with Sunny Kiss and Red Velvet when they were hanging out together at ringside. Yeah. Which is good to see. But Tony Storm obviously gets the win. I think she's taking the belt off Rosa. I think it's time.
I think she should. Well, I've said before, I don't think Tony Storm. I don't think Thunder Rosa is a very good champion.
She's a very good challenger. She's great.
She's brilliant. She's brilliant at chasing the belt. She's not good at being a champion.
Yeah. But she puts on really good matches, and she can do that without being the champion, if that helps.
Yeah.
And then the main event.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear the battle cry under the devil's sky. The Warring Angel flies.
That was fucking awesome.
That was the best entrance I think we've had in AW. So basically, the Andrade Rush directly comes.
Whoa, tranquilo. Was that better than the Dark Order's one with Hangman?
I mean,
because you know the answer's no.
I know it's not, but in terms of like, because it was so, but it was in a way it was nothing special because it was just a normal entrance, but just the way they had like Nick go to Justin, give him the piece of paper, and he starts reading off all these bits and bobs.
Justin like kind of looked up, like shit.
And then like the long version of Kenny's intro music starts playing. And as soon as it starts, everyone knows what it is. And he's like, but then he's reading it, and it's like, yeah, blah, 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 hasn't wrestled for 200 and so many days. The only man here to have wrestled in North Carolina. And as soon as he hit that, it was like, oh, fuck, it's happened. Even though you knew it was happening, you didn't quite believe it, did you, until you saw it?
Yeah, well, the crowd didn't until he said Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
They still thought this could be a swerve.
Kenny, by God, Omega. Coming out of the face tunnel with bloody Don Callis coming out the face tunnel. Nakazawa. It was.
Why is Nakazawa back? Bring back Takeshita.
That's it. We get Nakazawa back now because Takeshi's gone back to America to Japan.
Back in October though, isn't he?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
He did say he's back in October.
Jesus Christ, this match. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. There was a lot of really cool kind of like story beats where Kenny was like teasing that he had ring rust, and then he'd kind of go, nah, I haven't.
He kind of forget for a second and do like a really good move and be like, oh no, now I've got to pretend I can't like walk very straight.
Yeah, and the whole story as well was that like his body's still broken down. I don't know how much truth there was to it, but Don Callis said on commentary that Kenny had like had hernia surgery quite recently.
Yeah.
Well,
that was the last thing he was getting fixed, wasn't it? Was his hernia?
Yeah, and Kenny kept holding like his stomach. He did have like that compression top on.
Yeah, he started off in like a shoulder brace as well.
He had a shoulder brace on, yeah.
But he took that off pretty soon. If I tell you that the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Andrade Rush, and Dragon Lee had a really good match, you'd probably believe me there, wouldn't you?
Yeah. That was good.
Towards the end, Kenny hit Dragon Lee with a V-trigger that I think legit knocked him out.
Yeah, because he was like dead weight when Kenny picked him up.
Well, he wasn't because when he picked him up at the V trigger, he was because like you have to sort of offer your arm, don't you, forwards so Kenny can grab it, and he just wasn't. He was just like too out of it to give Kenny his arm, so Kenny was like sort of fishing for it a little bit. And
Yeah, Kenny looked knackered at the end of this match as well. To be fair,
I mean,
I hope he didn't overexert himself.
when you say about him looking knackered, don't forget. I think was it Brian Danielson or someone recently said something along the lines of like, when you're out for a period of time, you can do all the cardio you want, you can do all the training you want, but there's no like physical substitute for the physical act of wrestling. No matter what you do to prepare, going back to wrestling is a different sort of workout. No matter how well your cardio is, you're gonna blow up in your first match back because you just don't have the conditioning.
Showcase that.
Who?
Ric Flair.
I mean, that's an entirely different story.
Don't worry about it.
He like fucking passed out. I mean, he probably legally died in that ring like 3 times.
Oh my god, it's terrifying.
And what's the one thread between those 2 matches is Andrade. Weirdly enough,
yeah,
he was there for both. At least he'd have to put Knuckles on Kenny Omega's like immobile hands.
Yeah, there's a bit of a weird thing at the end of the match as well, wasn't there? With where like Roosh and Andrade unmasked Dragon Lee and as like
killed him basically.
Yeah, Andrade hit him with like the Hamlock DDT, and then yeah, it was a bit odd.
It was like literally as the show was finishing, like as JR was like wrapping up the show, it was like, oh, either they fucked up and they should have done that later on Rampage, or they did it. They ran out of time. So
was it shown on Rampage?
No, not at all.
Tony said it was going to get shown on Rampage. So just random. Maybe they'll show it on Dynamite this week.
Right then, we'll move on to Rampage. Speaking of Rampage, Claudio's out first because that was the start of Rampage. Which Claudio came out to talk about the Ring of Honor title, and he said he needed a new champion. And something I didn't know I wanted until it happened. Dustin Rhodes came out to challenge Claudio, which
that'll be a fun match.
I think I really want to see that now. I'm really quite excited.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
I didn't have. If you told me to name 10 people you want to challenge Claudio for the title, I wouldn't have picked Dustin. But then I can't think of anyone better in a lot of ways. So yeah, that'll be really fun. He made a really good point in his promo as well. He said that Claudio was like Dustin until he came to AEW. He'd never won a world title, and now Claudio has. Now Dustin wants to win a world title, so he wants to challenge Claudio for it. Which was
it'd be nice to challenge Claudio next for the Ring of Honor title after Dustin.
Who?
Chris Hero.
Oh, bring him back. Yes.
He said he's not done in wrestling.
A ghost from his past. Love it.
And then we got Kings of Wrestling.
Speaking of the Kings of Wrestling, do you know who was chatting to me on Twitter the other day about beer? Shane Hagedorn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
he works for AW as a content creator.
Yeah. I remember seeing that.
Big IPA guy, apparently.
So is Excalibur.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right, next up then, Swerve and Our Glory defeats Private Party to retain the tag team titles. Super fun match. I love how like the storyline of this was just Keith Lee trying to beal them everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're trying to block it.
That pounce he did into the ropes onto Isaiah Cassidy was horrible as well.
Yeah. But yeah, super fun match. And a little bit of a face turn from Private Party at the end. They shake hands and they're looking maybe like a bit remorseful for their bastardry in the past.
Yeah.
So you love to see it. Next up, Hook absolutely destroys Zach Clayton to retain the FTW Championship. Literally in like 30 seconds.
I wasn't here last week. Who the fuck's Zach Clayton?
He is. Oh, right. So this is going to pop, So he is the fiance of, remember, Jay Wow from Impact, who was on Jersey Shore, who fought Cookie, sorry. She had a feud with Becky Bayless and Robbie A.
Right.
When they debuted. So basically, TNA, this was like 10 years ago, this girl called Jay Wow was on Jersey Shore. Now she's engaged to this Zach Clayton fella who's now a wrestler.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
I'm so confused. So why is he in AEW?
He's just been wrestling on Dark and that. And now he's been fed to Hook, basically, which is
he
fine.
All Elite?
No, he's not signed officially or anything like that, no.
Okay.
Next up, Buddy Matthews. Speaking of people getting destroyed, Buddy Matthews just erases Serpentico from existence.
Oh, God. I saw this. I was like, okay, Buddy's out to do a murder. And then I saw Serpentico go, okay, Buddy's out to do a fucking murder.
And speaking of murder, post-match, Miro comes out and kicks Matthews so hard, he wakes up thinking he's back in Australia.
He kicked Matthews so hard, Weston Blake came back to fucking AEW.
Yeah.
He thinks they're a tag team.
He kicked him so hard he brought back Blake and Murphy.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Miro on a Murder Crusade's like the best thing.
Yeah.
So do we think, we've said this a few times now, do we think on All Out it's going to be Miro, Sting and Darby versus the House of Black?
Possibly, or just Miro versus Malachi. I'd be fine with, or Miro versus Brody.
Yeah, but they're not teasing Malachi and Sting.
There's a thing there, isn't there?
Plus, they could do that as like the kind of wild, like no holds barred match they have, like to kind of break up the air before the main event, can't they?
Yeah, that could be like the sort of oh shit. It's normally here's the crazy match where Sting jumps off something just before the main event.
Jump off something really high. We get Brody King and Miro having like the mother of all hoss fights.
But I want to see Sting come out with like half black face paint. You know where he got misted.
Yeah, well he's done that, hasn't he?
Yeah, I want it dripping like just black goo like dripping down his face like on his face paint. I think that'd look really cool. I want like mad shit.
Do you want Sting to like have the same thing going on with his, where it's getting bigger and bigger on his face, like it is Malachi?
Yeah, but Miro overcame it, same way Pac did, just by being incorruptible. The power of Miro's hot wife redeemed him.
Well, Miro just got angry that Julia Hart touched him, and he was like, "No one touches me but my wife."
Love that. Did you see Lana on CJ Perry on Twitter? Like Julia Hart followed Miro on Twitter, and she commented saying like, "Oh, I see you following my husband. Like, keep your distance, basically."
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant.
Next up, then, Athena defeated Penelope Ford. Really fun match. Kip was in the background a lot. Athena actually reacted to him as well a few times.
Yeah, and Penelope came back on Dark the week before.
Yeah,
and like kept going over by Kip. Kip's imminent, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean we've been saying this for like 6 months, but yes, finally, I think.
Well, they're doing the stuff with him and Pac. I think I can see probably on the buy-in them doing Pac versus Kip.
I can see a world where Kip takes the belt off Pac, maybe eventually.
Someday.
Maybe
I think
eventually.
Pac holds that for a long fucking time.
But yeah,
until Pac doesn't want to be the fucking All Atlantic champion.
Yeah,
Pac's gonna.
Fun match though. Athena picks up the win, and she didn't hit the O-face. She won with something else. It was like a.
No, she did.
No, it was like a powerbomb or something. She won with. It was a different move.
Really?
Yeah. It was cool though. Post match, Stokely comes out with Jade. They've got a sledgehammer. Jade bashes up Athena's wings. She comes out with like a little robot wings.
Yeah. Well, tries to.
Yeah, she hits a few times. Some bits come off, and then they beat up Athena. The baddies come in and beat up Athena, and then Jade hits with the sledgehammer in the ring. So they're definitely going down this route for All Out, aren't they?
I think Athena takes it off Jade at All Out.
You reckon they do double women's title changes at All Out?
I think so, because I think Tony Storm's a more kind of like sympathetic babyface for Jade to do a murder on.
They're so hot on Tony Storm as well. Like they're so big on it.
Yeah. And I think Tony Storm's like better at being like the sort of underdog babyface, whereas Thunder Rosa's like badass babyface. So it makes more sense for me for Tony to beat Thunder Rosa, and then at Full Gear have Jade just absolutely like delete Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tony.
Fair. Right then, main event, trios match for the tournament. I only realised when they showed this, the brackets here, I didn't realise the entire right side of the tournament is Rampage only, and the entire left side is Dynamite only.
Oh, that's really cool.
So all the right side matches are going to be on Rampage, and all the left side matches are going to be... I don't think they had it last week, but like there's a Rampage logo on the right and Dynamite logo on the left.
It makes sense though.
Yeah, that's a really cool way of doing it. So the final is going to be like the Rampage winner versus the Dynamite winner.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is pretty sweet. So yeah, here we have the best friends defeat the Trustbusters to advance. This popped the shit out of me for a number of reasons.
This was a very good match.
I love so much about this match. I love this Slim J and Chuck Taylor are just both douchebags in different ways.
Yeah.
And they play off each other so well. I love that like Parker Boudreaux is like massive sort of unknown quantity in the middle of the match, just sort of running around. He doesn't quite have the experience to be a real threat, but he's just causing chaos everywhere he goes, just leveling people.
He's got that Brock Lesnar bumping down though, hasn't he?
Yeah.
When he hit that like splash on in the corner and he like knocked himself out of the ring.
Oh, when he was flying over the side, yeah.
And just body Chuck.
Yeah.
Parker Boudreaux is really exciting, isn't he?
Yeah, he really is.
He feels like a really exciting prospect.
And they've put him in a really good position now, like, because Arya Daivari, not only is he a really good wrestler, he's a producer as well, so we can sort of guide him through his matches, sort of really help him out. He's working with talent like, Chuck and Trent. Chuck's got, like, Chuck and Trent trained Wheeler, so if you want to if you want to know how that's going along, then...
Well, Chuck and Orange trained Wheeler.
Yeah, Chuck and Orange, sorry, yeah. So, there's experienced hands all around him, which is really, really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then obviously he's got like guys like Mark Henry, who's like just a fucking great man as a big man.
Mark Henry, you got the Big Show in there as well.
Yeah, Jerry Lynn's
backstage. Yeah, Dean Malenko still around.
But Brian Danielson's been doing a lot of like mentoring of people as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, so I think I'm so excited to see what happens with him over the next sort of 18 months. I think it's going to be fascinating. But this match was also fascinating. I fucking loved it. I mean, this was the perfect blend. Like, Orange Cassidy has very quietly been having an incredible year in the ring.
He has, hasn't he? I like the fact that everyone kind of cried about Ospreay versus Orange, and now like it's almost like Tony Khan's like, I'm gonna show everybody why.
So, yeah, if you thought he was a joke when this match got announced, fuck it, I'm gonna make you believe in Orange Cassidy. I think off the back of Cassidy, I think there's a chance the Best Friends win this whole thing.
I want the Best Friends to.
It's the best chance you have to put a belt on Cassidy without derailing the main event scene.
And Chuck Taylor deserves a belt.
Yeah.
And Trent.
We talked, didn't we? We talked about like when Jurassic Express got the tag titles. I said I think this could be the start of a couple of like thank you title reigns for like the original talent. And Best Friends are one of those groups who haven't had anything yet. They've been there from day one.
And they're stupidly over.
Yeah. And so the match finished phenomenal. So Danhausen curses Slim J on the outside,
and Sonny Kiss,
and then Slim J.
The way they did that was great. So Chuck and Trent throw Parker like into the crowd where Kip was.
Yeah, nearly killing like several people.
Yeah. Did you see as well that when Parker threw Chuck into the barricade and like that girl just got knocked into it?
Yeah, she just went flying.
She put up on Twitter, she was filming it on her phone, and she's like, "This is the moment where Parker Boudreaux nearly killed me. I love wrestling."
Incredible.
Yeah, but like he goes over, and then as Sonny goes to check on him, Danhausen just pops up.
Yeah, and curses Slim J, and then we get the anthill for the finisher as well.
How much are you, like, as a Shikara fanboy, losing your shit right there?
Well, like on a scale of 0 to King of Trios, we're about a 6 now, which is. We've got the Dark Order doing Ragnarok. We've got Best Friends doing the anthill. I want
Ragnarok.
I want the Best Friends to get to the final just so they can all come out dressed as the Colony in the final match.
Yes, please.
No one will know what the fuck's going on. Excalibur's head will just explode for him to explain it to people.
Excalibur will have like a nosebleed.
He'll be doing bigger bumps than AAA commentators to try and keep up.
Tony will just come out with a big sack for Excalibur. Need to explain this in 60 seconds. Go.
Need to explain 12 years of Jakara in 15 seconds, mate. Off you go. Whilst also introducing Orange Cassidy. And whilst Taz sings along to Jefferson Starship.
Yeah. JR loses shit every time.
Yeah. Love it. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, so it's obviously Best Friends go forward. They are now officially my pick for the tournament. I'm putting it all on Orange.
I'd quite like.
I'm betting against Kenny, mate. That's how confident I am.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, mate. I'd really want Best Friends to win, or Dark Order. I think the final's going to be Dark Order versus the Elite.
Best Friends going to be Dark Order next week, mate. You'll get to do a sad. Unless Tursas comes out and Dark Order become the new BDK. And I'll just spontaneously combust at that point.
What if Evil Uno secretly Tursas?
What if he was always Tursas? And what if they find Aries, wherever the fuck he was? Yeah, anyway, that's AEW. It was breathlessly good as always, as you can tell. We'll have another quick break before we come back for some rest of the world stuff. If you're on Jax, you can have some Union and some Courtney Barnett. Some weird ones there, but you'll enjoy them, trust me. And we'll be back in 2 seconds for some rest of the world news. Okay, we're back. A few little bits of news here. So we'll blaze through these real quick. We're desperately running out of time. I'll recap Wrestle Island. Sure, went through that over the weekend really quickly, and then we'll very quickly to finish off. We'll break down the G1 as well.
Nice.
Sound all right? Okay, so first rest of the news, world story. PW Insider have reported that Tenelle Dashwood is no longer with Impact Wrestling. This is interesting because surely you've got to be thinking about a WWE return at this point.
Well, she's a partner's Madcap Mox.
Yeah. A very recent partner is Madcap Mox.
Yeah, when she said that she was a free agent, he put like a couple of googly eye things. Yeah. And in reply, so who knows?
Josh Alexander versus Eddie Edwards has been announced as the main event for Bound for Glory this year.
Josh Alexander doing a murder on any of the others, then yeah, please.
Yep. I mean, I still love the fact that Eddie Edwards' finisher is called a Boston Knee Party, and he just knees you really hard in the face.
Yeah, it's mad that Eddie Edwards has gone from being like really good technical wrestler to like fucking hardcore, like Tommy Dreamer.
He's just Sandman now, basically, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's just mad. You see all those American Wolves matches from like 10 years ago, and it's like, oh, fuck, what happened to that?
Oh, it's like the American Wolves versus Motor City Machine Guns, and he just looked like he couldn't fucking like hang at that style anymore. He just
why is nobody bleeding? What's going on?
He just looked lost. Davey Richards just looked angry as always.
Davey Richards, all I can do is hit 9 finishes. Like, come on, Eddie, you've got to do something else here.
Yeah.
And then finally, a bit of Will Ospreay news. So, as you're going to tell us, Jay, Will Ospreay lost something very recently.
He did. He lost his last night at time recording. So, this goes out on Tuesday, so Sunday night, he lost his Rev Pro Undisputed British title to Ricky Knight Jr., which was a shock. He lost by taking a one-winged angel followed by a tombstone.
That's not foreshadowing, is it? Jesus.
Well,
just to put it in perspective, if Aussie Open win and if United Empire win the round 1 trios tournament match, they will face Kenny in the Bucks.
Spoiler alert, ain't happening. We're getting the Elite First Death Triangle. They've been teasing us with that for fucking years.
That's not the only thing Will Ospreay. Well, he lost that. He also apparently earlier this year nearly lost his life, according to Will Ospreay. He revealed on social media that the kidney infection he suffered in May was so serious that he nearly died.
It's insane to think that a month later he was like having that match with Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, he was like on death's door, and then he was like, "Oh no, actually, I'll just be a fucking hard bastard and wrestle."
He was on death's door, and then he went through the Forbidden Door.
From Death's Door to Forbidden Door.
The Forbidden Door!
Right, very quick recap. I went to Wrestle Island on Sunday. It's a really cool show. They take place in Birkenhead in Rock Ferry. It's tenner on the door. It was ridiculous. 8 matches for £10 on a Sunday afternoon. Bring the kids. If you ever took something to do with the kids, it's the perfect show to take them to. It's family friendly. They have face painting. They have sweets. They have the bars really cheap. They have like kids drinks behind the bar and everything. It's real nice. All the wrestlers are like super good with the kids. They do meet and greets and everything. Like top people all the way through. Quick recap of the results. A tag team I've never seen before called East Mids Breakers won a 4-way tag team match to enter into a future tag team title tournament. All I can tell you about East Mids Breakers, they're both big hossy boys, and one of them's nickname is the Dark Fruits Daddy. And he has a picture of a can of Strongbow Dark Fruits on the back of his jacket that he makes his entrance with, which is incredible. Next up, we had Gina defeated Connor Klein in a Rock Ferry Riot match. So this is a match where Gina jumped off basically Jeff Hardy style. He climbed a ladder up to the ledge of the church hall and jumped off onto like 10 people.
Jesus.
And then about 90 seconds later, he set up a table in the middle of the ring, covered it in thumbtacks and Lego bricks, and then got put through it by falling off a ladder.
Wow.
So yeah, what? Gina's for the kids.
Gina's got a really cool look from what I've seen.
Yeah, he's awesome. So he was someone else. He was RJ, and then he got corrupted by this evil pastor, and now he wears a mask. So yeah. Charlie Brennan defeated Tommy Jackson in a gentleman's code match. This was a match where the only way to win was to have your opponent's cornerman throw in the towel. Again, it's for the kids. Charlie Brennan won by repeatedly pillmanizing Tommy Jackson's ankle until his cornerman.
That's a really cool stipulation.
Yeah, it was really good.
I really like that.
Joe Kessler defeated defeated Joey Hayes and Joseph Connors in a Joe-only triple threat match.
I bet that was fun.
That was lovely. Joseph Connors, excellent live, really, really good wrestler.
Yeah, so was Joe Kessler.
And so is Joey Hayes. They were all excellent.
Joey Hayes is really fucking good.
Next up, Brian Aidenson won a spin the wheel, make a deal 8-man match. So there were a load of different people in this. The first 3 people that came in had to win after doing a crane kick, like in Karate Kid, where you put your arms up and go, the next 3 people had to win after doing a top rope move, and the final 2 people had to win by doing dirty dancing before the pin.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What was Alvinson's?
The crane kick. So he literally just crane kicked Polish Barry in the dick and then pinned him.
Fantastic. That sounds like a really.
It was a riot. It was really good fun. You had some really, really fun guys in that. Next up, RPD defeated Dan Evans. RPD continuing his ascent to the top of Northwest Wrestling.
Yeah, pair of friends of the podcast there.
Yeah. RPD's great. He's having a great year. Dan Evans, obviously, tag team partner of our very good friend Scott Oman.
Yeah. One half of the Merseyside made it.
He was actually introduced as one half of the Merseyside Squad when they brought him out. So you'd love to see it.
Yeah.
Harley Hudson had an open challenge. She defeated Kaya to retain the women's championship. Obviously, Harley Hudson, she wrestled on TNT Ignition last week in the dark match. She defeated Lucia Lee, which was a great match, apparently. I didn't see it because I didn't pay for the VIP, but apparently it was very good. And the main event, the big one, Lance Rivera defeated Hustle Malone to win the Wrestle Island Championship.
Nice.
Finally crowned. So this match was so overbooked, it was hilarious. So first of all, there was a count out, and then the match got restarted. Then there was a DQ, and the match got restarted. Then there was a 6-man run-in of guys running in one at a time and hitting a move on someone. And then eventually, after all that, Lance picked up the win. Yeah, really, really fun show. If you're in the Northwest area, in the Wirral especially, you need someone to take the kids and there's a show on, just take them. It's super cheap. It's really good family entertainment. I can't say enough lovely things about the show. The people who run it are fantastic. Everyone's really friendly there. The crowd are great. Yeah, just check them out. It's really worth it.
Definitely need to get to a Wrestle Island show soon.
Yeah. Oh yeah. These come the next one. It'll be sound. It'll be boss. Right. We'll skip the next break because we need to talk more about the G1. So we'll plow straight through and we won't have our final break. We're going to talk about the G1 because it's concluded. The finals are over. It teased so much and then sort of fell back into its old habits a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those things where it made a lot of sense who won.
Yeah.
It made a hell of a lot of sense.
In long-term storylines, yes, but you always think like this is a chance to sort of flip the script a little bit, don't you?
Yeah.
Like tournaments give you a legitimate reason for something a bit crazy to happen.
I think just because they just changed the champion, like it was weird timing because they just like Okada lost the belt at Dominion. It was already kind of like, well, we're not going to lose. Jay White's not going to lose the belt.
Before we'll very quickly go over the results. So,
Yes.
Block A was won by Okada. Block B was won by Tamatonga. Block C was won by Naito, and Block D was won by Will Ospreay. So in the semi-finals, Okada beat Tamatonga, Will Ospreay beat Naito, setting up Okada versus Ospreay in the main event. This went 35 minutes. Meltzer gave it 5.75 stars.
Gasp.
Apparently, it was incredible. I haven't seen it yet.
I'm going to check it out.
Ospreay kicks out of a Rainmaker.
Just one.
Just one. He doesn't kick out of a second one, though. That's how he gets him.
That sounds kind of like the match they had at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah. I'm just a bit disappointed. Like when Sarah told me, because Sarah watched it, when she told me the results, my first thought was, so what? They basically used the entire G1 as a way to just do a rematch of Okada versus Jay White, which was the title match that they just had.
Yeah, and also Okada won it last year.
Yeah.
As well. But it's one of those things, like, I mean, Best of the Super Juniors was a bit less inspired for me because they literally have had Takahashi win it the last 3 years.
They love a repeat winner, don't they? They absolutely love a repeat winner.
Yeah, they had him do the three-peat. I'm pretty sure the final was in versus El Desperado as well, where it was just like, oh, well,
You can just imagine a Carter, can't you? Like coming home and his wife's like, "Oh, she just had the baby. I'm so glad that you said you'd take a bit of time off and we can have paternity leave together." And he's like, "Oh, really sorry, love. I just won the G1. I'm back on the road."
He's only taken one tour off as well. That's like 6. He's literally like he's back in like the end of September, I think.
I imagine he raises his hands there and just wherever his money just falls down. He's like, "There's some money there. Just hire a nanny to help out." There you go.
Well, his wife's like quite a famous either singer or actress in Japan as well.
Oh, fair.
So they're probably both going to be going like back to the careers relatively
Power couple.
Like soon. Yeah, they literally are like Japanese power couple.
Well, fair play. Like the Japanese, like Posh and Becks, except they're both like nice people.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things as well where obviously Okada isn't going to isn't going to get his title shot until Wrestle Kingdom, which is the 4th of January.
Yeah. I mean, interesting in all this as well, because we've got a long way to go. Jonah is running around now telling people that he beat Okada.
So yeah, that's what they usually do. Like they did it last year. Funnily enough, there was kind of a bit of a long-term story that telling here where Tama Tonga was the only person to beat Okada in the G1 last year, and then at King of Pro Wrestling, Tama Tonga faced Okada for the briefcase. So it was cool that Okada beat Tama Tonga in the semi-finals to kind of like overcome them.
To kind of close that off, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, obviously, normally whoever beats, because it's usually only one person that beats the G1 winner.
Yeah, and it was just Jonah this year as well.
Yeah. So they'll do a rematch where Jonah versus Okada for the briefcase. Who knows? Jonah might beat.
Who knows? I mean, I can't wait to see that, to be fair, because their match was phenomenal.
Jay White beat Kota Ibushi when he won the briefcase.
Yeah, so it has happened. There is precedent there.
It's not out the realm of possibility.
Right. Okay.
Jonah Jay White will be a compelling match as well.
Yeah, that'd be excellent. Right then, I think we're gonna have to wrap it up there. So yeah, the G1 kind of ended on a bit of a weird note, but it was a fantastic tournament. Like the match quality across the board, for the most part, was super, super high. It was really, really good from what I saw of it. Yeah, it's been a bumper week in wrestling, hasn't it? We'll be back next week. We'll have an AEW title match to talk about. It because never ends, does it? It never ends.
I know it's very, very fast paced.
Right. If you're on Jax, we're going to play you out with a bit of Acid Mammoth, which they're a Greek doom metal band, like sludge metal band. Imagine if Black Sabbath were Greek. They're fucking awesome. Enjoy a bit of that. And yeah, we'll see you all next week. Thank you very much for listening. Take care. Enjoy your wrestling, and we'll see you all super, super soon. Goodbye.
Bye.